If we want to protect the places we love, we must vote. But first, let's start at the beginning. Here, 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 and here. Our country claims to be built on a lot of things: ideals, law, truth. But the one thing that's perfect, what America's actually built on, is the land. This land, this land, this land, this land. For some of us, our ancestors have been here forever. Others arrived centuries ago. Others did not choose to come here at all. And others were simply our parents looking to give us new opportunities. But despite our different paths, we all converged here, on this land, not made for you or for me, but for everyone. You see, the land is our common ground. The mountains, the slopes, the forests, the crags, and the coasts. The places we play and the places we escape to. We cannot continue to allow our seasons to shrink, our rivers to be polluted, our skies to warm, and our forests to burn. So we must rally around the other thing that unites us, our right to vote. Because no matter who you are, if you love the land, you are a member of the outdoor state. 50 million people strong, not defined by borders or party lines, but by passion for places we love, bigger than any other state and more powerful too, but only if we vote. So let's stand for our common ground, whether our common ground looks like this, or this, or this. If you love the land, it's time to make a plan to vote. Make your plan to vote at makeadamplan.org.
Welcome to the Send the State series with Protect Our Winners, which is also supported by Rock and Ice. I am Graham Zimmerman, the lead of the PAL Climb program, and I am delighted to be here this evening with Sasha DeJulian presenting on her experiences climbing in Colorado. Sasha is a total badass. Not only has she sent some of the hardest rock climbs in the world, but she's also taken on the role as an advocate for what she believes in, which is a really big step to take. And Sasha, we are very excited to have you on the PAL Climb program, and very excited to have you here tonight. So I will let you take it away, and we'll see you.
Yeah, likewise, Graham. Thanks for that intro. And everyone who's here, thanks so much for tuning in today. I know that this is an interactive Zoom demo, that we're doing. So if you guys want to just say where in Colorado you're at, it'd be awesome to kind of get the conversation flooding through. And I guess I'll start out with telling you a little bit about myself, what brought me to Colorado, and also why I find it so important to be a PAL ambassador and advocate our right to vote, especially this year in the election. I am just going to load up some slides. So I'm looking for them right now. Let me see. Oh, here we go. So the outdoor state of mind. This is a photo from Rifle, Colorado. If you guys want to chime in here, if you've ever been to Rifle, it's one of my favorite places that I've spent climbing out here. But as we kind of dive in, some of the topics that we'll be going over is who I am, the place, which is Colorado, and our climate. So what we've been seeing, experiencing here in any sort of weather patterns and changing climate, and therefore leading us to why it's so important to be empowered and activate our outdoor state in this year's election. So a bit about myself. I grew up in Washington, D.C. area. My mom is actually from Canada, so it was a little bit of a bifurcated childhood between Montreal and the DC area. But I started climbing when I was about 6 years old, so in 1998. And my origin story actually isn't in the outdoors. It was at a birthday party at a local climbing gym where my brother had his birthday party, and I fell in love with the sport, joined like the local junior team program, and started competing about a year later. And from there, when I started competing when I was about 7, it kind of led me around the world to different locations, mainly for indoor climbing competitions. But I travel out west for like US nationals, which often were in Colorado or Utah or California. So remember one of my first junior nationals was at Rockin' and Jammin'. I don't know if any of you guys know that gym, but that was kind of like, I'd say one of my second US Open national titles was at actually Movement in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I live now. But I guess staying on my trajectory, I started on the East Coast, and then climbing brought me to the West Coast, where I would either go on climbing trips or to climbing competitions. And over the course of the last 22 years that I've been climbing, I've done a lot of different first ascents and first female ascents outdoors. I won the female overall world championship, became the Rock Legend recipient after climbing a 9A. And I graduated from Columbia University. And I guess that's kind of where my origin story in Colorado began. It's like I graduated from college, and it was kind of a no-brainer to make my way out west. I knew a lot of people in the Boulder area, and I had fallen in love with like the different climbing areas out here. One winter break during college, I actually went to Vail to learn how to ice climb. And remember, I was like mixed climbing with like dry tooling and stuff in the Vail Amphitheater. I don't know if any of you guys have been there, but chime in again with where some of your favorite areas to climb in this area in Colorado is. And then I went to Telluride, where I climbed Bridal Veil Falls, which was like my first experience with ice climbing. I had grown up skiing on the East Coast, and that was kind of a lot of my experiences with like winter sports. So it was a pretty cool experience to then change over and experience like this multifaceted sport in a new lens than just rock climbing, which was what was and still is my main passion within the sport. So here's a photo of me competing in the Euray Ice Climbing Festival. Again, I don't know if many of you guys have been there, but it's one of my favorite events that happens in Colorado. And I think that this experience really led me to see like the plethora of climbing opportunities here in the Colorado region. And so once I graduated from Columbia, I moved out to Boulder in 2016. So I'm coming up on 5 years out here. And what I can say is there's just like this unsurmountable amount of climbing available from like Boulder Canyon, Clear Creek, the Flatirons area, which are some of my favorite areas to climb now. And living in Boulder, I feel like I'm just constantly impressed and blown away by how much climbing I still haven't even tapped while living here. And I'd say some of the other areas that with like from early memories that I had was driving around Rocky Mountain National Park with my mom, and also climbing in Independence Pass, and doing some climbing, I guess, like all throughout the state. And what I've learned to really appreciate is that no matter where I've been in the world, Colorado is still such a world-class area to climb. And what also makes me feel so appreciative of living here is that we do have so much land and open space and ability to recreate in so many different ways, from like skiing and hiking and climbing, mountain biking, road biking. I'm missing like a bunch of awesome sports, I'm sure. But that's been my experience here. This picture here is from Button Rock and Lions, and that's just another area that I thought of that is super unique and cool. Like there's so many different geological formations here that really remind me of like what amount of climbing actually exists in this state. So if you're from Colorado, chime in with some of your favorite areas that you like to climb at, and let's talk about why we need to protect the planet. As you guys are probably all aware of because you're a part of this chat, and if you're not, our temperatures are increasing every year. And here is a little map of what is happening as the greenhouse gases are trapped within our atmosphere. And just this weekend, you know, this is up a few miles from my house, we experienced what the prolific changes in weather are doing to our environment. And that included myself and, you know, some of my friends in the neighborhood packing up and preparing to evacuate from our houses because we weren't sure about what was happening with the fires. And the biggest fires happening in Boulder County history happened as a result of climate change. And I think that what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis is getting really real, and we can't really compare what our past is with what the future holds if we don't do something about the climate now. And this warming effect that climate change is having is really causing a lot of avalanche accidents occurring due to warming snowpack. Rockfall is something that's really prevalent this year in March. I was on a trip in Mexico when a bad rockfall incident happened, and it killed our really good friend who was climbing. And while you can't really pin all rockfall to climate change because that is something that happens, the inconsistencies in the weather patterns are definitely contributing to more rockfall, avalanches, volatile shifts in the integrity of ice climbing, which is happening to areas like in Vail, in Telluride, in Euray. So I think that the future of our planet really depends on us and on our ability as the outdoor state, which is what Protect Our Winters really represents and has gathered through 50 million people in our country are outdoor enthusiasts. And in that way, we all on this chat, I assume, can chime in if you're an outdoor enthusiast, are a part of this outdoor state. And I believe that it's the responsibility of this outdoor state of people from all sorts of different sports, snowboarding, skiing, ice climbing, rock climbing, trail running, fishing, etc., to use our voices and to stand up for our playgrounds. So how we can do that, which is pretty cool, is that Protect Our Winters has provided a toolkit essentially that puts together a list of different elected officials and their backgrounds and the policies that they stand for, which is basically like a toolkit that enables us to learn more about who we're voting for, why we're voting for them, and also what policies we can really stand behind and protect. And I really believe that all outdoor people can be climate advocates, because as my career grew, I realized if I have a voice, I need to use my platform in order to affect positive change. And we can all stand up for the places that we love to recreate in. And I think that one of the first and most foremost things of what we can do this year is vote for the candidates that are really going to be standing by our values and protecting places that are under threat. There are a lot of public lands that boast like incredible climbing throughout the country that are under threat of being privatized. And there are so many policies that we really need to be aware of and think about what we love to do and how that may be endangered. So if you love the land, make a plan. And I am going to welcome back Graham so that we can have a live Q&A to talk about some of the points that I may have missed. But really look forward to meeting you guys out at the Crags and just recreating in the places that we love together in a way that's responsible and advocating for a positive climate action that we all need to see in these places that we love.
To hear stories. I mean, our shared relationship with space and these mountains and crags and rivers is a really important thing to dive into. And hearing you talk about Colorado and your relationship with that place is awesome. And I think that the first question I have for you is, I have a similar experience with Colorado where there are just so many crags and so many cool places to check out. And I thought I'd ask, what's a crag or an area that you haven't been to that you're still excited to go check out at some point?
I've never been to Vedauwoo, and that's like an area that I'd love to go check out. See, I haven't actually bouldered too much in like Rocky Mountain National Park. I've done some more like sport and trad there. So I do feel like when I'm recovered from my current injury, next year I'd love to go and climb there some more. But I feel like there's like St. Vrain and all these areas that I keep hearing about that are amazing that I haven't made it to yet. Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, they say there's a lifetime of climbing out there, and I think that's really true, particularly if there's people meant to. All right, so onto the voting stuff. I don't know if you have voted yet, but what is or was your plan for getting your vote in?
Yeah, I actually just did vote. I did a mail-in ballot, which is what I've done most other elections because I'm normally traveling. And I actually used to be registered in Virginia. So I finally like changed my address and voted in Colorado election, which was pretty exciting. I had my driver's license, and since I guess it was like the first election year that I did get to vote in Colorado was 2018, but in 2016 I had voted in Virginia because I had still been there, and now I have like everything sorted in my house in Colorado. So my plan for voting was the mail-in ballot. It was just so simple. I took my ballot, I filled it out. I did appreciate the toolkit that POW had because I could kind of like cross my T's and dot my I's with the candidates that, I think are pushing climate action forward. And then I just went and like right by Iris is a mail-in ballot place. So I just dropped it off there.
Awesome. Well, good work. And thank you for voting.
Yeah, absolutely.
My wife and I actually just got our ballots, and we're gonna be doing the exact same thing tonight when we get off this call, and I'm very excited about it.
It is an exciting thing. It's like you definitely feel good doing it. Like you're like, good, I did my duty.
Totally, yeah. It is our job as citizens. And as you know, I mean, this is part of what we're doing right now. But do you have any other plans to help encourage others to get out and vote?
Yeah, I definitely think that social media is a really great platform to spread awareness and to publicly speak about the candidates that we agree with their policies. It's just such, like, the thing I don't love about social media is it's less in person than maybe some of us would like to have. But with COVID and everything, I think that it's just a way to reach a lot of people in a quick manner. So using my social platforms for sure. I'm actually going up to Bozeman this evening, so it'd be interesting to see like the state of affairs there. And I think that just speaking to my friends, speaking to also people who live in the battleground states about what their plans are. So I feel like if I have a friend who hasn't voted, like I will hold them accountable, which is my plan.
That's perfect. And I think that, it's interesting, something a lot of us assume, like, oh, we talk a lot about the environment and the climbing community and the ski community. We talk a lot about these issues. But our community doesn't actually have a great track record with voting. So it is really important to follow up with your friends, particularly if they live in battleground states, and encourage them to show up. And I think that one thing that there's been so much pressure on mail-in ballots, but there's still time to like make a plan to vote, get your vote in, even if you haven't like quite figured out what your plan is. It is not too late.
I mean, I think that there are so many options available to us now that we're being almost inundated with ways that we can vote. And so I think just like making your plan enables that like cloud of unknown to make sense. If voting is confusing for anyone, it's like literally you can Google your different options. I do think that the POW Voters Guide was super helpful, but like holding your community accountable is, I think, really important.
Yeah, I dig it. And I really appreciate you being here to help us do that. And I think that's all the questions that I have. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we jump off?
No, otherwise just vote, because our community depends on it.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
With that, go vote. And actually, we're going to jump off right now. And this will send you right over to the Make a Damn Plan website, where you can find all sorts of resources for how to make sure that your voice is heard. So, Sasha, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. You're awesome. And we'll see you again soon.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
See you guys soon.
Started to understand that amplifying our voices and getting people out to vote is the only thing that we can do fast enough to kind of solve these major issues.